Your environment may be chaotic not because your leader doesn't know what they're doing, but because they are intentionally making it chaotic because that's their leadership style. I'm Dr. Anna Call-Schmidt. I'm an industrial organizational psychologist, and I research the unwritten rules of work for people from working class backgrounds and who are neurodivergent. Tell me if this has happened to you. I once worked for a company where I was a pretty high up middle management right before executive, and I was truly concerned that I worked for a group of idiots. It honestly boosted my self-esteem to be there because I didn't think I was a genius. I was just like, wow, if you are this idiotic and you're in leadership, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can start my own business. They were constantly reorganizing departments and putting people who had no work experience in very high positions. I mean, literally an intern got put into a program management position. Someone in HR who'd never worked in HR. Program managers who'd never been project managers. I mean, that kind of thing. It made things chaotic all the time, and teams couldn't really congeal, get past that forming, storming, norming stage because it was always in storm. And no matter how I presented how much it impacted the quality of the work and the client relationships, they didn't change it. But this is a management style called controlled chaos. And someone who's known for it is the infamous Jack Welch, who is still taught in MBA programs to be the ideal capitalist. He was the CEO of General Electric in 1981, and he was known for his aggressive management style where he deliberately introduced chaos and uncertainty into his workplace all the time to keep people on their toes. He fired the bottom 10% of his employees every year. He would constantly aggressively restructure the organization, reorganize business units. He was focused on being number one or two in every one of the markets they were in, or he would pull out. He heavily relied on Six Sigma and hit ambitious growth targets. He is known for saying that long-term is just short-term over and over again, which sounds nice up front, like it makes sense, but as someone who has a lot of anxiety and does make a lot of lists and do things step by step to break it down, you can miss sight of the long-term vision. There are some things you have to do short-term to be able to sustain long-term. And businesses now are drastically not lasting as long. The average business length is about, I think it's around 13 years right now, and it used to be like 50 or 60. It was extremely profitable short-term, but long-term, it tanked GE. When the 2008 crisis hit, they were not prepared to last, and they had to split into 3 different companies. But Jack had already retired by then, and the next CEO took all the blame. So what can we learn from this? When you're in a chaotic environment, it is tempting to try to keep track of all of it, and that's impossible, and that is the point of it. So when you're in an environment that feels unstable, organize with other people and divide up what you can focus on. Focus on the areas that have your strengths and where you can make the biggest contributions. Especially if a lot of people are being harmed, like you're seeing a lot of abuse, there is a pressure to keep up the appearance that you care and are informed about all of it, especially if you're in a leadership management position. But that's impossible. You need to collaborate with other people who care about all these things and have strengths in different areas than you so that you can effectively make change and make sure that your leadership and your organization are sustainable long term. Dr. Devin Price writes about this in his book, Laziness Does Not Exist. I highly recommend.